My name is Genevieve Lewiston, and I'm campaign manager for the Ben Chin for Mayor campaign. Today we'll hear from Ben about 4 bold policy initiatives to renew and revitalize our once great city of Lewiston. Then we'll hear from 4 local experts on the initiatives and why they support Ben's candidacy and the policy ideas. But first I want to share with you some of the results of the community survey that has been distributed all over the city. We've had more than 150 people fill one out, either on paper or online. They were asked to grade city services and were asked some open-ended questions about what they'd like to see happen in the city. Let me get into the results. The survey showed strong appreciation with A grades for the fire department and the library, strong appreciation for the police and trash and recycling programs with an A-. Average grades in the B range came in for sewer and water, parking, parks and recs, snow removal, other public works, transportation, and schools. These grades varied widely based on people's age and where they lived. For these departments, it's clear that more must be done to proactively seek feedback from residents. Too many people have told stories of needing to call their city councilor or even the mayor to have their issues addressed. Code enforcement was the only department to average less than a B grade, coming in at a C+. In addition to the grading, we asked some open-ended questions, as I said, and got many different answers from people from all over the city. But one clear theme emerged throughout, and it's Lewiston's reputation must change. It is an obstacle to attracting investment, keeping young people here, and it demoralizes us spiritually, in my opinion. We will only meet our city's challenges when we begin to believe again that we can overcome them by working together. And to outline some of the ways we can do that, I'd like to introduce Ben Chin, candidate for mayor.
Thank you. So, my name is Ben Chin. I'm running for mayor of Lewiston. And thank you. My wife Nicole and I are raising our family here because our city has such a strong community. And after all the responses from our survey, we have heard loud and clear that Lewiston's reputation needs to change. So I'm happy to present today this 4-point plan to tackle that issue. And I don't have all the answers, no one does, but from the beginning, I've said this campaign needs to be about big ideas concerning the future of our city, and so today I'm delivering on that pledge. So some parts of our reputation are unfair, others reflect the challenges of a working class city with a chronically high rate of poverty, but that all means that we need more than a new slogan. We need actual policy changes. So here are 4 big ones. First, we need to take buildings from corporate slumlords and invest in owner-occupied housing. My plan creates 100 units of resident-owned housing in the next 5 years. Already in Lewiston, limited equity housing cooperatives are turning tenants into part owners of buildings. Residents have a real stake in bettering their buildings. Capital stays local. We need to scale up this ownership structure. Second, we should create a model mixed-use economic development zone on Lisbon Street, right here. Bits and pieces of our city have seen revitalization. It's time to make Lisbon Street, from Main Street to Cedar, a completely blight-free zone of restaurants, retail, and mixed-use, mixed-income residences. Every storefront should be like Forage's, and no more abandoned lots like the one right across the street. We'll switch from use-based to form-based code, and we're going to back that up by tripling the facade grant program to make that happen. Third, we need to create an Office of New Americans to make sure all Mainers are able to learn English, enter the workforce, and become citizens. There's no going back. Lewiston will forevermore be a diverse city. Our communities need to learn how to live well together. The city must do its part in providing the coordination and leadership to make sure that happens. Fourth and finally, we need to create some high-wage, blue-collar jobs in an emerging sector. My pick is solar energy. Belfast already uses solar power on municipal buildings to create local jobs and save on energy costs. Lewiston's IBEW Local 567 is home to some of the best electricians in Maine. My plan outlines how the city can partner with IBEW to draw down federal tax credits to make Lewiston Maine's solar city. None of this is going to be easy. You can go online to benchinformayor.com to see my plan and how all this gets paid for without raising a single dollar of property taxes for homeowners. And to be clear, the only way this works is if the state of Maine begins to repay the $10 million of debt it's racked up to the city of Lewiston in order to pay for its tax breaks for the rich. It's time to get our money back. And all of this requires taking on an entrenched old guard. But we invented democracy to do just that. This year, the people of Lewiston have a choice. It's between new ideas and the same old, between a city run by corporate slumlords or a city rebuilt by the people who actually live here. To the cynics that believe this change is impossible, I have only one thing to say, and that is get out of the way. There's a new generation that is ready to take on these challenges, and we don't feel failure. We don't fear failure. We only fear leaving our city for our children stuck in the status quo. So today I submit my plan to the people of Lewiston. I challenge all other candidates for mayor to do the same. Let's make this election about issues that matter. The time for change is now.
Thank you so much, Ben. Next we'll hear from Julia Harper, a housing cooperative member and resident.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Julia Harper, and I'm a resident of 75 Maple Street. I grew up in Lisbon and attended St. Dom's High School when it was across from Kennedy Park in downtown. Like a lot of young people, I moved away to college, not expecting to look back to Lewiston. However, during a transition after college, I took a job here that involved community partnerships and outreach. And through this work, I was able to discover the heart of the people of this city, and I fell in love with both the people and the place. Introduced by friends in 2012, I discovered the housing cooperative on Maple Street and was initially pretty wary of walking around the tree streets of downtown. Upon spending more time there, however, I discovered friendly multicultural neighborhoods, beautiful active parks and community gardens, easy access to city services, and a vibrant life that made the location very desirable. I got married last summer, and my husband and I have decided to make our home in Lewiston. Living in the housing co-op is both affordable and secure because residents manage the building together. I worked 2 part-time jobs, and up until last year, I still had student loan debt. The savings I've realized by living in a co-op has allowed me to pay off my student loans and start saving for my family's future. Housing co-ops are creating a new way of living in a city that is attractive to young people looking to start new businesses and families. It meets the desire to live in a city, but with the freedom and responsibility of homeownership. People from across the state have been coming here to learn about what we're doing. Last year, a couple of friends, one of whom has helped to found a national nonprofit, were trying to move here from out of state and were told by a local property management company that there were no good places to live downtown. That same week, they came to a gathering at our co-op, and they were so impressed they were asking if we had apartments available for them. This is not an uncommon story. We have received inquiries from people every week, and we actually can't meet the demand for the units fast enough. Our housing cooperative, now called the Raise Up, has expanded by purchasing and renovating a multi-unit building next door, which is 79 Maple Street. You can see pictures above over here, and below is an example of the current condition of a lot of housing units in downtown. It has allowed 11 people to join our project, and it also helps rebuild our city. We have abated the lead paint, have added energy-efficient heating system, among many other improvements. I'm in support of the policies in Ben's plan to expand this model to 100 units because we need to move the housing market in a new direction. We need to change what is possible in downtown, and we need to think about these places as homes again. Everyone should have a decent home, and it's time for new ideas and positive leadership to help make that a reality. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julia. And next we'll hear from Alan Smith, the owner of Forage Market, with his perspective on Ben's proposal that we create a model block on Lisbon.
Hello, my name is Alan Smith, and I'm the owner of Forage Market and the building that it's in, that's in front of us. I'm proud of this building because it shows the great pride of the people in Lewiston who built it. It's a solid building with granite foundation. brick walls and floors of heavy timbers, and it stood here for over 100 years without losing any of its integrity. It's notable that it was built by a first-generation immigrant to this country, George Ellard, who proudly put his name on the facade along with a pair of shamrocks. Mr. Ellard came from a country whose immigrants were not easily accepted at that time. By the time I first moved to this area, there were not many reasons to visit Lisbon Street, let alone think about starting a business here. The great vibrant downtown that used to be had faded to look like ruin. But when we started looking at real estate, the solid old buildings drew us in. This facade in front of us had dirty, torn curtains hanging in an empty storefront with broken plate glass windows. The brick was so dirty it was all a uniform gray. But we were inspired by what we could see under layers of carpet and drop ceilings, and we were inspired by the availability of helping funds from the city. We discovered on a city website that certain areas of Lewiston's downtown were eligible for federal grant money, and we saw that if we spent matching money fixing up the interior, we could fix up the facade. We also saw that the city had a low-interest loan program to help us get more work done and to start up a business. The knowledge of these grants really focused our search for real estate on Lewiston's downtown. The requirement from the city, we had to spend a matching amount of money, and we had to create 3 new jobs. We have done that now several times over. 6 years later, with an investment of lots of hard work and a lot of money, Forage Market has become a vital part of the new growth of Lewiston. We employ 8 full-time workers and as many as 5 part-time people. We're a connection point for hundreds of regular customers, and in an accomplishment that makes me more proud than almost anything else we have done, we create community, and we create pride in Lewiston. When Lewiston residents first discover us, they usually say something about how awesome the old building is. Then, if they're longtime residents, I often hear stories about how important and exciting the downtown was when they were kids, and how they did all their back-to-school shopping here. If they're new to the area, they tell me how great it is to see this kind of development going on, and sometimes how this one store is the main reason they felt comfortable deciding to move to this town. Ben Chin has a plan to revitalize and expand the incentive programs that have helped Lisbon Street come this far. This is great news. These programs access existing federal dollars to leverage the money and creativity of private investors like myself. They focus on the downtown, the heart of all great communities. Ben Chin has a plan to help the newest immigrants to this city become part of its future growth. A lot of the rent being paid on this street, keeping these buildings going, is coming from this new group of entrepreneurs. They're a source of great vitality. The downtown has a special place in the memory of Lewiston residents from prior generations. It's a critical piece of Lewiston's future progress, and it must not be abandoned to decay. Ben Chin has put this revitalization at the center of his campaign. I strongly support Ben Chin for mayor.
Thank you so much, Alan. Thank you for leading the charge of revitalization of this Lisbon Street downtown area, and thank you for running such an awesome establishment I know so many of us enjoy. Next, I'd like to introduce Fahmo Ahmed, a local student at USM and community leader.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Fahmo Ahmed. I have lived in the U.S. for the past 10 years. I moved to Lewiston, Maine, 2008. I was very shocked to see how small the city was. I worked through my high school years expanding the celebration of diversity. I have seen that there was no diversity in the workplace, in the school, and in the community. I didn't want it to wait anything to happen. I take the lead, and I said I need to do this. I don't want anyone to expand celebration of diversity. I have to do the job. I created a multicultural organization in a school where students could come and learn from one another about culture, about differences. My first job was babysitting in Lewiston, Maine. I babysat 10 kids, 6 boys and 4 girls. I got my first job with a paycheck the same day I became an American citizen. In Central Maine Community College, I work at a TRIA office where I help the students to access sources that were available for them in the college. I have been volunteering in the community. I'm a phone call away from community, everything that the community needs. I work at YWCA last year, and I created a swimming program for new Mainers and native Mainers that they can come one place and swim, to learn how to swim in a respectful and environment place. We need a new office, immigration office. We don't want our new Mainers who wanted to become American citizens to travel to Portland, Maine to access the immigration office. We need a new immigration office here downtown Lewiston at the City Hall. We are pretty diverse. We need to celebrate diversity. We are different because our differences are God's mercy. My name is Fahma Ahmed. I support Ben Chin for mayor of Lewiston, Maine.
Thank you, Famo, for sharing your story and highlighting the need for an Office of New Americans at City Hall. Finally today, we were going to hear from Al Shepard, treasurer for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW, on his perspective on the solar energy plan. Something came up for Al this morning and he couldn't join us, but we have in his stead one of his students, Linnea Hawkins, who will read Al's statement. Linnea.
Good morning. My name is Linnea Hawkins. I'm an apprentice at the IBEW Local 567, and I'm glad to be here today to stand in for Al. And I'll read to you what he said about Ben's plan. 3 cheers for this forward-thinking plan to develop a solar plan for the city of Lewiston. I look forward to working with Ben Chin to develop a pathway for the use and promotion of solar energy in Lewiston. IBEW and the Portland JATC have been and will continue to train our electricians in the application of photovoltaic systems. To be able to play a role in the expansion of these green, sustainable sources of energy in our hometown is exciting. We have worked in other communities that support these similar initiatives and in other states that offer incentives. Creating good jobs that pay a livable wage and benefits and offer energy savings is a win-win.
Thank you, Linnea. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you so much to our speakers. We're happy to take any questions from the media if you have any.